Hello students, we're on Module 15B, Lab 31, and if you want to open up your lab books to whatever page that is, then that would be great. Okay, we're going to be learning more about light and how it reacts to the idea of color. Okay, so light and color, we're working on those two things to do. Still looking at the spectrum, still talking about reflection and refraction today as well. Also, so last time we looked at the particle theory versus the wave theory. And remember, we settled that, right? Not really. So let's take a look. Okay. So reflection and refraction. We did a little bit of reflection last time with our light beams into the angle of reflection, right? It has angles that are equal to each other. We saw that in our mirror that we did last time. But refraction occurs when the light bends after passing through a substance. Okay, so it's not going to be bouncing off of it, it's going to pass through it. So like light is coming through our windows, right? And it's coming straight through our windows. It's completely transparent. So we will look at the rules here of refraction. So you're going to be writing this down, the underlined part, I think. When light refracts into a substance in which it must slow down, the light ray will bend toward a line perpendicular to the surface it strikes. Okay, so that's when it's slowing down. Sometimes the light will refract into a substance where it'll speed up. The light ray will then bend away from a line perpendicular to the surface it strikes. Okay, that's very technical, I understand. And so, yeah, write those down. You may want to pause this so you can write those things down. And I'm assuming those blanks are in your book. All right, so let's see. Okay, here we go. So the light's coming in. It hits this refractive lens, it slows down, which causes it, look, to bend and then go back out at its original speed. Okay, so we're going to see how it's going to bend the light, still knowing that the light goes in straight lines. So here we go. Remember, our reflection, our incident ray would come in, it would reflect and come off exactly the opposite, but our refraction is different. The incident ray comes in and it goes through it, and that angle of refraction right there versus that angle of incidence right there, you can see, so we can measure that, okay, and see that refracted ray right there. If we could do an experiment, like for instance in your book, I believe in 15.4, is this how it works? You're using a pencil and you put it into the water and you can see it looks like the pencil is bent. That's pretty classic. You've seen a glass of water with a straw in it, and it looks like the straw is off, offline a little bit. Do I have that picture in here? Yeah. So let's check that out. You see, so it looks all messed up, and that has to do with refraction, the way the light is coming in to it. All right, the way the light is causing that to bend and move. So this brings us to how a rainbow is formed, which is our first kind of introduction to the idea of color with light. Okay, so what happens is that the raindrop, which is a drop of water, it acts like this refractive lens. Okay, so the light comes in, it hits the raindrop, and it bounces and bends, and it separates it into its separate colors of the spectrum. It was really Isaac Newton who did a lot of work with this and realized, my goodness, this is what's happening. That visible light is a spectrum of color, and when all those colors are together, we just see white light. But we can break them up by looking and separating them in their wavelengths. Okay, so those wavelengths of Roy G. Biv, right? We can see those. Let's watch a little video about it. This is British, sorry.
When a beam of light hits a piece of glass straight on, it passes right through it. But the waves that make up the light actually get slowed down by the glass and only go back to their normal speed when they come out the other side. That slowing down is what causes white light to split into a rainbow of colour whenever it hits glass on an angle. It happens because glass slows some colours of light more than others, and because slowing down on an angle makes light bend. It's easy to understand the bending if you picture how the light waves would look from above, like how waves at the beach look if you see them from the air. And while white light's made up of all the different colours of light, it also helps to look at them one colour at a time. When a wave front of red light hits glass on an angle, the part of the wave that enters the glass first gets slowed down before the rest, and that changes the angle of the whole wave, like how waves bend around a cliff. Violet light gets slowed down even more by glass, so its waves bend more. All the other colours get bent somewhere in between. So the colours get separated when they first enter the glass on an angle, and they spread out even more when they speed up on an angle as they leave. The reason the different colours slow down different amounts in glass is because they've got different wavelengths. Red light has the longest wavelength, followed by orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and finally violet with the shortest wavelength. And the shorter the wavelength, the longer it takes to travel through glass. That's because light interacts with electrons in the molecules that make up glass. Long wavelength light, like red, only interacts a bit with the electrons, so it doesn't get slowed much. But shorter wavelength violet light interacts more, so it gets slowed down more. So it's the combination of hitting glass on an angle and different wavelengths interacting with the electrons in the glass different amounts that makes light hitting a prism spread out into a beautiful spectrum of colour and some classic album cover art.
Okay, so that was Australian. Yeah, I hope you understood what she was saying. I thought it was explained very well there. And so we see that's all refraction is responsible for all of that. So remember, it's speeding up when it's coming back out. You know, so it goes in, it slows down. When it comes back out, it speeds up. And that's the whole slow down, speed up thing. So this is just a fun little, well, I thought it moved, but you can see the light waves going through there and how they're kind of split there. Oh, okay, it's a video. Yeah, there you go. So moving through right there. This is just some artist version of it, how they're separating them out and spreading them and bending at different, at different angles right there. So that pretty much explains that. Okay, here's just another view of we have a raindrop producing that rainbow. All right, so it's going to be bending one way inside as it's slowing down and one way outside as it's speeding up. And here, if we're watching from a distance, you can see that's what's happening right there, which creates a rainbow. So that rainbow, as we know, is always in that order. It's kind of interesting if you see a double rainbow, it's in the opposite order. Have you ever thought of that? Yeah. So, all right, just one more picture of seeing it right here, how our eye is perceiving it. And I still believe a rainbow is one of those beautiful miracles, and I always just love it when we see them. They're not really all that common out there, but we've all seen them, right? All right, which brings us to lenses. So if I'm going to take this light and put it through these lenses, I can manipulate it and bend it. I can bend light. It's always going to travel in a straight line, but I can bend it one way or the other. So we have converging lenses. They're convex shaped, so they're kind of round. It's sort of like you would see, like your glasses would be. It concentrates light to a single focal point, which is why we use them for glasses, because it will focus the image so that my eye can see it. That's why we wear glasses, to focus images. Our eyes are doing the same thing, and we'll get to that in a minute. A diverging lens is concave. All right, I'll show you pictures of each one of these. And it speeds the light outward. In fact, we will, in our lab today, I'll show you some of this. I would have brought lenses for you to play with today and look at and put the light through them. So there's our converging lens on the top. Light's coming in straight lines. It bends at straight lines. It comes to a focal point right there. Everything is in focus. So picture this as being somebody's glasses and this being their eye. It'll bring it in. This is what the optometrist will do. He will measure how big this needs to be to get the focal point at your eye. Okay? The diverging lens comes in and it spreads the rays out. Okay? Instead of going to a focal point, the focal point's actually in front of it. And we use this for different applications. For instance, a flashlight or something like that would spread the light out some, so we'd have a nice beam coming out. So here we see how that converges to our focal point there on the right side. So there's our converging lens. All right. There we go. And here's another one. This one's our convex lens. And there's our concave lens. All right. Showing our focal length, our focal point. Yeah, there we go. Lots of math in that, but we don't have to do that in this class, thank goodness. All right, so here is a picture of a human eyeball, and we're going to see how light coming through here does the same thing. We're going to have some bending through our cornea first, and there's some fluid right in here called aqueous humor. And we have a lens as well. Okay, so all of these are going to act like lenses, and they're going to bend the light a little bit coming in through, going through the vitreous humor. And then right here on the back of the eyeball is the retina. The retina is where the image gets almost like it's a movie that's being projected up onto the screen back there. And our retina has specialized cells in there, and those cells will be able to interpret. I mean, those cells will pick up light stimuli, and send that to the brain to be interpreted as what we're seeing. All right, so here we're looking at a ice cream cone, right? And the light's coming in. Remember, light travels in straight lines. So the image will appear upside down on our retina back there. And then our brain, of course, just turns that right side up. You might find this difficult to believe, but if you think about it, if you have a magnifying glass and you hold it out and look at somebody, they'll be upside down in it, okay? And that has to, people ask me, why is the image upside down? The answer is because light travels in straight lines. Okay, the light's coming straight line here too, straight that way, but look, it doesn't go through the little pupil of the eye, so we don't catch that part, okay? The middle is going right through the middle, but it's the middle here too. All right, so we use this concept to develop cameras and everything, so cameras all end up with the picture upside down as well. I don't know if you knew that. I think this is going to move. Does this move? We're going to see how that muscle, see the muscle of your iris, that's the colored part of your eye, will get stretched out or compressed. So their ciliary muscles, when they relax, if that's too far away and the object is in focus, our eyes will accommodate whatever we're looking. If we're looking at a distance, it'll change the lens shape. So I can accommodate that focal point for the distance. If I'm looking at something close up right here, I'm going to accommodate that by stretching that lens out. Okay, so the lens is very movable. Then when you start to get older, it gets a little more stiff. That's why people my age have to end up with reader glasses like I have. Bummer. Yeah, I didn't ever need glasses until I was, in my 50s. Okay, so how does the eye detect color then? Let's bring color into it. So we're looking at the eyeball. At the back is the retina. Okay, and there's the pigmented cells right here, and these special cells called rods and cones. So here are the rods. There's a lot more rods. This doesn't really show it. It shows more cones. But the rods are responsible for picking up the shades of gray. All right, so light and dark essentially. And then our cones are responsible for picking up color. And so in order to see color, we must have very bright light. You may have noticed this in the evenings. Have you noticed when you're sitting out, on the front porch or whatever in the evenings in the summertime, we're all enjoying you're probably doing a lot more of that lately. And as it starts the sun goes down and we have less and less light, everything sort of looks like it's gray. It's shades of gray. We don't see any real distinctive coloration in that type of light. But in the middle of the day, everything, yes, we have a maximum amount of light bouncing off of it, it's reflecting off of it, and we end up seeing color. So color is a function of light. If there's no light, there's no color. All right, so color, it doesn't change the way something is, it's essential makeup, but it does change the way we see it, right? No light, no color, lots of light, lots of color. This is what that cone cell looks like. It's pretty amazing. All right, remember, this is a cell, y'all. Remember, we talk about cells being round or whatever, but this is the way it's shaped. That's pretty cool right there. The nucleus is here. We got all sort of mitochondria. Mitochondria are responsible for the energy of the cell right there. And this part right here has these membranes that are folded on each other like this. So cool, which have these specialized cells called chromatophores. And those chromatophores will pick up their photo sensitive. So they have photosensitivity that picks up light stimuli and then transports that down through the cell, and this is called the synapse down here, so this type of nerve cell right here, and sends that information to the brain. And like I said, with a bright light, you're going to see different colors right there. So let's watch a little video about it.
There are many ways that we use color. Artists use different colors to express emotions. Marketers attach colors to their brands to make them more recognizable. Animals use colors to ward off predators or attract mates, and people do too. What is color? Scientists define color as the limited range of light that we humans can see. We classify different types of light based on their wavelength, which can be anywhere from many meters in between each wave peak to lengths as short as the diameter of an atom. The full electromagnetic spectrum ranges from high-energy light waves with short wavelengths, like cosmic and gamma rays, to low-energy light waves with long wavelengths, like radio waves. The light we are able to see, called the visible light spectrum, ranges from violet light, which has a wavelength of about 400 nanometers, to red light, which has a longer wavelength of about 650 to 700 nanometers. But how do we perceive the visible light spectrum? When light bounces off an object, like this painting, into our eyes, it first hits the cornea, a film that lays on top of our eyes. This layer bends light towards the pupil, which dilates or contracts to let in more or less light. Once light passes through the pupil, it is sent to the lens, which angles and focuses the light to a point on the outer layer of the retina. Here, light-sensitive cells, called rods and cones, send information to ganglion nerve cells in the inner retina. Ganglion cells then send the information to the optic nerve, which sends the signal to the brain, where the signal is processed and interpreted. Rods and cones, the two types of light-sensitive cells located on the outer retina, have different jobs. Rods are responsible for our perception of light and dark and our peripheral vision. Cones are what allow us to see color. They are found in the center of the retina where light is focused. Cones come in 3 varieties, each sensitive to a different range of light. Interestingly, we have more cones sensitive to red light, meaning our vision is best for warmer colors like reds, oranges, and yellows. However, our cones aren't sensitive to light with wavelengths shorter than 400 nanometers or longer than around 700 nanometers. For example, a gamma wave's wavelength is about the size of an atomic nucleus, which is much too short for any of our 3 types of cones to sense. Radio waves are too long, with wavelengths longer than 2 Empire State Buildings put together. That doesn't mean that these forms of light aren't visible, per se. Other animals have different kinds and numbers of cones, which allows them to see the world differently than we do. Dogs, for example, are more limited in the wavelengths they can see because they only have 2 types of cones, leaving them colorblind to differences between red and green. Butterflies have 4 types of cones in their eyes, letting them see ultraviolet light. The animal with the best color vision might be the mantis shrimp, which has 12 different kinds of cones. If Pablo Picasso and Paul Klee created amazing works of art with just 3 types of cones, imagine the masterpieces the mantis shrimp would create with 12.
Okay, yeah, that mantis shrimp is crazy. Crazy stuff. All right, so have y'all seen this? A couple of years ago, this is kind of all the rage right here. So we're looking at a picture of a dress. And there is debate over what color this dress is. So y'all take a look at it and tell me what color you think it is. All right. I think it's gold and white. Are y'all seeing the same thing? Gold and white. Because some people see something different. I will tell you this happened sort of accidentally. Some person, a woman, was shopping and she saw this dress and she sent the picture out to a friend. And the friend said, "Why are you buying a blue dress?" Because some people see it like this. Do you see it blue now? Of course, because I changed it. So there's white and gold, blue and black. But some people see it, they look at this and they see the blue one. Pretty crazy, huh? I will tell you something really weird, y'all. I was looking something up today, and it was about our lab that we're going to do, and I'm scrolling through the page, and they had a picture of this dress, and I said, "Oh, there's that gold and white dress." I scrolled down and read what I was supposed to read. Then I went back up, and guess what? It was blue the next time I looked at it. That's crazy. I do not get it. But the explanation is it's just about how our eyes are perceiving it at the time. Different people do see different things. Okay, I think this is a blank page right here. What I have for you right now is an experiment about detecting color. So what I need for you to do is I need for you to stare at this red cross in the middle of this white page. Okay, so I'm going to have you stare at it. I'm going to tell you when to go, and then I will tell you when to stop. Well, then I'm going to change the. So you just keep staring at it, okay? Then I'm going to change the screen. So right now, go ahead and start staring at that red cross. I get a little uncomfortable when there's no sound at all, if I'm not talking at all. So keep staring at it. All right. If your eyes go a little blurry, that's okay. Keep staring. Look, look, look. And furthermore, if this doesn't work for you the first time, go back and, pause it and do it yourself, okay? All right, everybody staring at it? All right, keep staring. And what do you see now? Now blink your eyes really fast. Now blink your eyes against the white. Do you see it? Do you see a cross still? You should see a cross, and it should be greenish blue. Everybody get it? All right, so what's happening here is that our eye is perceiving that red color, right? And if you stare at it long enough, what happens is in your retina, those little cones that are sensing red start to become fatigued. They start to get tired of you looking at it. And your brain is thinking, why is she staring at that red so long? And so the brain will start to say, okay, well, she's not going to stop staring at it. So that actually turns off the red cones to rest them, okay? It turns them off. And therefore, the other ones are the only ones still seeing color. So when I put it on the screen, the next screen over, that's when you saw the green and blue, right? Or the greenish bluish, or the opposite greenish. I don't know. You tell me what color you saw. All right, so if you, again, want to try that again, you can pause this and do it on your own. There's our blank screen. Now try this one. What you're going to do is you're going to stare at that red dot. Okay, so just stare right at the red dot. And just like the last time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the screen to a white screen here in just a minute. So just be looking at the red dot. You can blink your eyes if you need to. You don't have to, get a staring contest or anything like that, but just, keep staring. You need to look at it about 30 seconds at least to get your eye cells to get a little bit mad at you. All right, so now I'm going to turn to the next page here. Are y'all ready? Here we go. Do you see it? Now blink your eyes. If you didn't see it, blink your eyes. You may have seen it just for a split second, but it was completely in color. Did you see it? It's Lucy's face completely in color. All right, so this is the way that a negative works for like the old-fashioned kind of cameras. They would take this negative picture, and then when they went to go print it, it's like a mirror image kind of thing, they would end up getting the positive, which is all the colors right there. So pretty cool stuff. Once again, you can try that on your own if you want to. All right, if we were together, I would have these little things called color paddles. Color paddles are just little transparent colored, plastic things, and you look through them and you add them together. With my younger students in Science 3, 4, and 5, and 6, I would use Jello jigglers for this, and we would put those together and look through them and see how we can change the colors right there. So it turns out that when you use colors of light, it's different than using colors of paint. Okay, so if I asked you artists out there, if I asked you what are the primary colors, well, you would say red, blue, and yellow, right? And that's true if you're talking about paint. And we can mix all of those together to get the colors that we want, like this color wheel over here, right? So if we had red, blue, and yellow right here, we'd mix red and yellow to get orange, red and blue to get violet, and blue and yellow to get green. Well, it turns out in light it's a little different. We have red, green, and blue. If the blue and the green come in, it makes cyan. Red and blue make magenta. Green and red make yellow. And look what we have right in the middle. When we put all three of the primary colors of light together, we have white light. That's pretty cool stuff right there. Our lab will show this today. I got it on video, okay? So I'll show it to you. So this is called, when you're using paint, it's called subtractive primary colors. So I take my primary colors of yellow, cyan, and magenta. I guess that's official, right? Instead of red, blue, and yellow. And my magenta and yellow will make red. My cyan and magenta will make blue. my yellow and cyan will make green. And what do I have in the middle? I have black, right? So those are subtractive, whereas the light version of it is called additive. And it's quite a bit different right there. Which brings us to our Color Chaos Kit. Now I sent this home with you. All right, you have a little battery and some light bulbs and some colored beads. And you're gonna put them out on something like this. I just have them on I had to go into a dark room. I'm gonna play you a video. I think, yeah, this is the video. Here we go. This lab right here. So oops, it's coming. All right, hello students, here we go. Okay, this is one of the more, this lab's a lot of fun. Okay, I really enjoyed this lab right here. So I've given you the parts. So remember I gave you a little battery and some light bulbs and some beads that look like that. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna show you what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your battery and you're gonna line up your light bulb, and you're gonna touch the top part of the battery and the bottom part of the battery to your light bulb. Notice it's not lighting up. So if that happens, I tested all of these before I sent it. All the bulbs work and the batteries are good. Turn it over, okay? It's just going the wrong direction. Now look what I have. Can you tell that is blue light right there? Okay, so there's our blue one. And then we're gonna have a green one, right? And a red one, yeah. And so just, that's how you do them, all right? So you're just gonna put them on your battery like this, and you're gonna light them up. All right, okay, you can see that. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your beads and put them on a little plate. I have a little dish here. Just go ahead and kind of dump them out. Like that, okay? And you're gonna see the colors right there. So we see all of our colors, all right, all our beads right there. And I am going to now, we're gonna shine these lights on them and notice difference in the color. Now, in order for this to work properly, we are going to have to go into a darker room, okay? So I'm gonna attempt to do this by taking this stuff into my bathroom where it's dark. And I'm not sure if it's going to work. Okay, so let's try it. In the room where we have our class usually, it is dark enough typically in there for this lab to be done. I just turn the lights off, right, and those windows are covered, so it works. So in your house, you don't have to be in a completely dark room, but a somewhat darkened room. All right, so all right. So here we are. My plate was sort of bent and the beads kept rolling around. So I decided to put them on a white piece of like a napkin right here. All right, so also notice I separated some of them. Here are they all together. Notice we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then this is black right there. Okay, and this is all of them. All right, so let's see how this lab works. Okay, so I have my beads here, and they're kind of separated. Let me pull them like this. They're kind of rolling around a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn the light on. Okay, so hopefully you can still see what's going on here. Do you remember, did you see what colors they were? Okay, you're gonna acclimate some color there. I mean, some light in there. All right, so my first light bulb that I'm gonna light up is going to be green, okay? So now I'm gonna bring the green and then shine it on the actual beads, okay? So remember, so these were yellow, and so what color are they gonna look like now? And here's my red ones. So now this doesn't show up very well on the video, y'all, okay? But it will show up well for you, okay? So you're gonna be looking at that bead, all right? And you're gonna tell me what color does it now look like they are, okay? So does the red still look red? To me, the red looks pretty black. Black still looks black. Green still looks green. Blue looks more green. Yellow looks kind of green. Orange does not look like orange. Okay, all right, so remember the way they're reflecting, right? Here comes red now. Now what's red gonna do? So there's my color without a bulb, right? And now we're gonna come up here. So it's kind of fun when you have them like this. See, mine's so bright for y'all. And you can see the difference that they make. And then you can go here. My camera's having trouble, focusing. And try to figure out, can you figure out where are the red ones? Where are the blue ones? You know, this kind of thing, okay? Then we take our third light bulb, which should be blue, okay? And then we're going to show the blue ones on there. Look how the orange ones changed. Boy, that really changed for me. Yeah, okay. All right, so y'all give that a try, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Very good. Okay, so I find that lab to be a lot of fun, and you're going to see how the different, so like for instance, if I have a red bead but there's no red light, right, what's it going to do? How's it going to reflect that, right? So it's pretty cool stuff. And so you can play with those, yeah. And Here we go. Now, here's our mixing light colors and working with the lenses. So you can see a little lens right down there on the, I couldn't remember if that was this lab or not when I was doing this. So let's take a look. All right, so remember from last week we used my my cool flashlights here with the different colors, and one thing I never showed you was the way they go through a lens. So I'm going to try to show that to you right now. Let me see which one works the best for that. I'm going to turn this light off. Okay, here's our red. Okay, so did we talk about lenses last time or this time? Let's see. So I want you to see how this bends. When I put it right there, do you see how it's bending that light? So that's definitely refraction going on right there, right? And so, but when I take it and put a different type of a lens in there, notice how it's going to bend it the other way. Pretty cool, huh? So that's my converging lens, like that. And then my diverging lens, like that. Very cool. All right, today though we're talking about color, and so I'm going to take these parts off. All right, these might end up being too bright, ironically. So you can see that I'm going to shine a red light and a green light and a blue light. And so if we put these just right together, is that working? Do you see in the middle? Oh my goodness, y'all check that out. Look, the three in together, I have white light. Look how I have with the red and the orange, red and the green, I've got orange. And then do I see any red and blue? Sometimes you gotta manipulate them a little bit, because red tends to be strong. But I'm really impressed with how I got that white light on there. All right, so we would have been using these against a wall, and y'all would have come up and taken the different, there it goes. Awesome, awesome. All right, so I'm mixing those together right there. All right, so there's our color lab. Very good. Okay. There we are. All right, so yeah, that one is a lot of fun to do together. Yeah, sorry we're not together to do that. And we would have seen, you walk closer to the wall and that kind of thing. All right, so we finished now with 15. Remember just to do your work. I have been getting those, and I've actually been grading your quizzes. I know I haven't responded to you. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna end up sending to you just the keys to the quizzes. Okay, so you'll have those to study, because I'm not gonna correct your quiz and send it back. That's kind of hard to do. But I'll send you the answer key to you. The other thing is that I'm really going to try hard to see if I can find enough hours in the day to get the final to be completely online. All right? So you'll go to the Google Classroom. There'll be 50 questions, completely multiple choice, and you'll answer them right there. And so we don't have to do this business of sending back an answer sheet and all that to me, okay? It's just a matter of me getting the data in there. So I'm going to really try hard to do that. The other thing is next week we will have one more lecture on Module 16. We'll cover all of Module 16 in 1 week. It's very doable that way. And that's also when we'll use our little film canisters to make your little rockets. Okay, everybody, short lecture this week. That's all right. Y'all have a great one. See you soon.